equals the night sky over Mexico City erupted in a cascade of purple light, splitting the darkness like a cosmic wound. Dr. Elena Rivera stood frozen on her university observatory deck, her coffee cup slipping from her fingers and shattering on the concrete. Above her, a massive vessel materialized through what appeared to be a tear in space itself, its obsidian surface reflecting the city lights below like a dark mirror. Within hours, similar ships appeared over every major city on Earth. The world's military forces scrambled their jets, but the vessels remained stationary, floating like silent sentinels above the panicking populations. Dr. Rivera, one of Earth's leading experts in xenolinguistics and theoretical alien communication, found herself rushed to a hastily assembled command center beneath Mexico City's federal district. Dr. Rivera, General Martinez greeted her, his usually stoic face betraying signs of strain. "We need you to make sense of this." He gestured to a bank of screens showing similar scenes from around the globe. 27 ships in total, each positioned with mathematical precision over the world's most populous cities. The first transmission came exactly 3 hours after the ships appeared. It bypassed every encryption, every firewall, broadcasting simultaneously across all communication channels in perfect, accentless versions of Earth's major languages. "People of Earth, we are the Arcanian Empire. Your civilization has been evaluated and found worthy of assimilation. Surrender your planetary governance within 72 hours, and your integration will be peaceful. Resist, and we will demonstrate why no species has ever successfully opposed our will." Elena studied the message, running it through various linguistic analysis programs. "There's something off about this," she muttered, more to herself than the room full of military and political leaders. "The language is too perfect, too precise. It's like they're following a script they've used before." Dr. Rivera, with all due respect, a U.S. military attaché interrupted, "We don't have time for linguistic analysis. We need to know if we can fight these things." Elena turned from her screens, her dark eyes flashing with sudden insight. "That's exactly what we need to understand. They're not just delivering an ultimatum. They're following a pattern. This is a test." She pulled up historical records of humanity's responses to threats, from ancient civilizations to modern conflicts. "Look at this. Humans have never responded uniformly to any threat. We're unpredictable, adaptable. We fight differently depending on our cultures, our resources, our circumstances." The room fell silent as she continued. "The Arcanians are expecting a unified response, either complete surrender or a conventional military counterattack. Their message, their positioning, everything about this is designed to force us into a binary choice. But that's not how humanity works." General Martinez leaned forward, interest flickering across his weathered features. "What are you suggesting, Doctor?" "I'm suggesting we do what humans do best. We surprise them. We need to contact every major military and scientific installation that isn't under direct observation from these ships. We need to understand their technology, yes, but more importantly, we need to understand their psychology." As if in response to her words, the ships began emitting a low-frequency hum that made the ground tremble. On every screen, the same message appeared: "Your time begins now. Choose wisely." Elena looked around the room, at the faces of military leaders, politicians, and fellow scientists. "They think they're giving us an ultimatum, but they've actually given us an opportunity. They expect us to behave like every other species they've conquered, but they've never met humans before." She pulled up a global communication channel. "We need to get everyone on board, not just governments, but hackers, engineers, guerrilla fighters, anyone who thinks differently. Because that's humanity's real strength. We don't just adapt, we innovate. And I think we're about to teach the Arcanian Empire a lesson they never expected to learn." As the countdown began, humanity faced its greatest test. But in the depths of that underground bunker, Dr. Elena Rivera allowed herself a small smile. The Arcanians had made a crucial mistake. They had given humanity time to think, to plan, to prepare. And if there was one thing humans had proven throughout their violent, beautiful history, it was that they were at their most dangerous when backed into a corner. The first phase of humanity's response was about to begin, and it would be anything but what the Arcanians expected. The global resistance took shape in the shadows of the Arcanian ships, while governments publicly deliberated their response to the ultimatum. 48 hours into the 72-hour deadline, Alina made a breakthrough. She sat in the dimly lit bunker, surrounded by holographic displays showing the continuous stream of data emissions from the ships. Her hands trembled as she cross-referenced the patterns she discovered. "It's not just communication," she announced to her team. "These transmissions, they're maintaining some kind of network. The ships aren't just communicating, they're dependent on each other." Dr. James Chen, a quantum computing specialist from Singapore, leaned over her shoulder. "Look at these oscillations," he pointed to a recurring pattern in the data stream. "They're compensating for something. These ships might be powerful, but they're not invincible." The discovery sparked a flurry of activity. Teams worldwide began focusing their efforts on understanding the alien network. In underground facilities and hidden laboratories, humanity's brightest minds worked tirelessly to decrypt the Arcanian communications. Meanwhile, the aliens remained silent, their ships hovering with mechanical precision above Earth's cities. But Alina noticed something else. Subtle variations in their energy signatures, barely detectable but consistently present. "They're scanning us," she realized. "Not just our military capabilities. They're analyzing our responses, our behavior patterns, our decision-making processes." The revelation came just as the first acts of resistance began. Despite government orders, independent groups launched attacks against the alien vessels. Conventional weapons proved useless against their shields, but each attack provided valuable data about their defensive capabilities. Alina received reports from around the world. A group of hackers in Estonia had managed to intercept and decode a fraction of the ship's internal communications. Guerrilla fighters in Colombia discovered that certain frequencies could temporarily disrupt the alien scanning capabilities. Each small victory, each piece of information, became part of a larger puzzle. But the most significant breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a theoretical physicist in Japan, contacted Alina with an urgent discovery. The Arcanian ships weren't just maintaining a network, they were generating a massive quantum field that enabled their advanced technology. "The field requires perfect synchronization," Yuki explained over a secured channel. "Even a microsecond of disruption could have cascading effects across their entire fleet." Alina brought the information to General Martinez and the other military leaders. "We don't need to destroy their ships," she explained. "We just need to break their coordination. The Arcanians aren't just an advanced species, they're a hive mind. Their technology, their strategy, everything depends on perfect unity. And that's their weakness," Martinez concluded. "Because humans, we thrive in chaos," Alina finished. "Our strength isn't in unity, it's in diversity. Every culture, every nation has its own way of fighting, its own way of thinking. The Arcanians can't predict what they can't understand." With less than 24 hours remaining, Alina coordinated with resistance cells worldwide to put their plan into action. They would need every hacker, every soldier, every scientist working in perfect discord, a symphony of chaos that the rigid Arcanian systems couldn't comprehend. As the final hours of the ultimatum ticked away, humanity prepared for what would either be its finest hour or its last stand. The Arcanians had expected submission or a direct confrontation. Instead, they were about to face something they'd never encountered in all their conquests, a species that turned unpredictability into a weapon. Alina looked at the massive ship looming over Mexico City, its dark surface reflecting the determination of the people below. "You wanted to test us," she whispered. "But you forgot that humans have been testing themselves against impossible odds since we first looked up at the stars." The countdown continued, but now it wasn't just marking time until surrender. It was counting down to humanity's moment to prove why they were truly the wrong species to challenge. The moment humanity chose to fight back wasn't marked by a single massive attack, but by thousands of seemingly random actions across the globe. As the deadline approached its final hours, Dr. Elena Rivera coordinated what appeared to be chaos, but was actually a carefully orchestrated plan. Hackers from Seoul to Silicon Valley launched simultaneous attacks on the Arcanian network, not trying to break through their defenses, but instead creating patterns of noise that mimic their communication protocols. In the Australian outback, Aboriginal teams used ancient techniques to create massive ground paintings that confused the aliens' surface scanning systems. Each action seemed insignificant alone. "They're responding exactly as we predicted," Elena announced, watching the Arcanian ships adjust their positions minutely above each city. They can't ignore the disruptions, but they also can't determine which ones are actual threats. The Arcanians' first show of force came as a warning shot, a beam of energy that carved a mile-long trench outside Cairo. The message was clear: submit or face destruction. But humanity had already committed to its course. Dr. Chen's quantum interference devices activated simultaneously across the globe, each one generating frequencies that clashed with the aliens' quantum field. The effect wasn't immediately visible, but sensors showed microscopic fluctuations in the ship's shield harmonics. "It's working," Chen reported, his voice tense with excitement. "Their network is trying to compensate, but they can't adjust to all the variables at once." The Arcanians responded with increasing aggression, launching attacks against military installations worldwide. But Earth's forces had already dispersed, operating from hidden locations and using guerrilla tactics that the aliens' rigid military doctrine couldn't effectively counter. Elena watched from the command center as reports flooded in from around the world. A team of Maasai warriors in Kenya had discovered that their traditional jumping ceremonies, when performed in large groups, created seismic patterns that interfered with the aliens' ground-based sensors. Native American tribes used smoke signals that contained particles that disrupted local atmospheric readings. Every culture, every tradition became a potential weapon. "They expected us to fight like them," General Martinez observed, watching the tactical displays. "But we're fighting like us, all of us, in every way we know how." The turning point came when Elena's team detected a change in the Arcanian ship's energy signatures. The constant barrage of irregular attacks and cultural interference was forcing their network to adapt in ways it had never been designed to handle. Like an immune system overwhelmed by too many different threats, the alien fleet's perfect coordination began to show signs of strain. Their ships aren't just connected, Elena realized, studying the data. They're dependent on each other. They've never needed to operate independently because they've never faced an enemy that fought like this. The resistance unleashed its next phase. While the Arcanians focused on major military threats, smaller teams moved into position worldwide. Climbers scaled mountains to place disruption devices at high altitudes. Deep-sea submarines positioned quantum resonators in ocean trenches. Every layer of Earth's environment became part of humanity's defense. Then came the message that changed everything. A young hacker in Mumbai, working with Elena's team, managed to intercept and decode a transmission between the ships. The message was brief but revealing. Consensus failing. Unexpected variables exceeding acceptable parameters. Request immediate protocol adjustment. Elena's eyes widened as she translated the implications. They can't adapt fast enough. Their entire military strategy is based on perfect coordination, but we're forcing them to make individual decisions. Each ship is being forced to act independently, and they don't know how. The Arcanian fleet's formations began to show subtle signs of disarray. Ships that had maintained perfect positioning for days began to drift slightly out of alignment. Their responses to attacks became inconsistent, some overreacting to minor threats, while others failed to respond quickly enough to significant ones. "This is our moment," Elena announced to the global command network. "Every team, execute your assigned protocols. Don't coordinate your timing." That's exactly what they're expecting. Strike when and how you choose. Let's show them why humanity has survived every crisis we've ever faced. As the sun set over Mexico City, Elena watched the massive ship above begin to pulse with unusual patterns of light. The Arcanians had come expecting to find either submission or conventional resistance. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that turned their greatest strength, perfect unity, into a weakness. The battle for Earth had truly begun, and humanity was fighting it in a way that no species in the galaxy had ever seen before. The Arcanian ships began to show signs of true distress on the fifth day of what had become known as the Chaos Defense. Their once perfect formations deteriorated as each vessel struggled to maintain synchronization with the network while dealing with countless unpredictable threats. But Dr. Elena Rivera knew better than to celebrate too early. "Something's not right," she muttered, studying the latest data streams from the compromised alien network. "These patterns, they're changing too quickly." She had been working for 72 hours straight, sustained by coffee and the desperate need to understand their enemy. Dr. Chen appeared on her holographic display, his face showing similar concern. "Elena, we're detecting quantum fluctuations we've never seen before. It's like their network is evolving." The Arcanians' response came without warning. Simultaneous energy pulses from all 27 ships created a web of light that encompassed the Earth. For one terrifying moment, every electronic device on the planet went dark. When systems came back online, the aliens' message broadcasted worldwide. "Impressive, humans. You have succeeded where others failed. But you have only seen what we wished you to see. Now, witness our true form." The ships above Earth's cities began to transform. Their solid surfaces rippled like liquid metal, revealing intricate patterns that pulsed with internal light. Elena's instruments recorded energy readings that defied known physics. "They're not just ships," she realized, her voice barely a whisper. "They're nodes of a quantum superorganism. Everything we've seen until now has been a test, not of our military strength, but of our ability to think differently." As if confirming her theory, a new figure appeared in every communication device on Earth. Unlike the previous Arcanian messages, this one showed a being that seemed to be composed of pure energy, its form constantly shifting between different geometric patterns. "We are the collective," it announced. "For millennia, we have searched the galaxy for species worthy of joining our network. Most races we encounter either submit to assimilation or attempt to fight us using predictable, conventional methods. You are the first to demonstrate true adaptive intelligence." Elena quickly broadcast her analysis to resistance leaders worldwide. "They're not trying to conquer us. This entire invasion has been an elaborate evaluation of human potential." But the revelation came with a new crisis. The quantum web created by the Arcanian ships was beginning to affect Earth's atmosphere, causing weather patterns to destabilize. Humanity had proven its worth, but now faced an even greater challenge: learning to communicate with a species that existed as a unified quantum consciousness. "We need to show them we understand," Elena announced to the global command network. "Not just their technology, but their purpose. They want to see if we can adapt not only to fight them, but to comprehend them." Working with quantum physicists and consciousness researchers worldwide, Elena's team developed a radical plan. Using the disruption devices they had created to fight the Arcanians, they reprogrammed them to synchronize with the alien network in a new way, not to join it, but to communicate with it while maintaining their independence. "We don't need to become part of their collective," Elena explained to world leaders. "We need to show them that diversity and individual thought can coexist with unity. That's what makes humanity unique, our ability to work together without losing what makes each of us different." The modified devices created a new kind of interface, allowing humans to experience the Arcanian consciousness without being absorbed by it. Through this connection, Elena and her team made a startling discovery. The Arcanians were ancient, yes, but they were also lonely. Their perfect unity had come at the cost of creativity and innovation. They sought out other species not just to test them, but to find those who could help them evolve. As the quantum web continued to affect Earth's environment, Elena prepared to make humanity's most important transmission yet. They would show the Arcanians something they had never seen in all their millennia of existence, a species that could unite without uniformity, that could maintain its chaotic, beautiful diversity, while still working toward common goals. The fate of Earth now rested not on humanity's ability to fight, but on their ability to help an ancient, powerful species understand that true strength lies not in perfect coordination, but in the harmonious discord that had defined human civilization since its beginning. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology, their military might, or even their ability to fight. It was their capacity to imagine something entirely new. Dr. Elena Rivera stood before the hastily assembled Council of Earth, representatives from every nation, gathered to witness humanity's response to the Arcanian revelation. "We've been looking at this all wrong," she began, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. "The Arcanians aren't our enemies. They're a warning of what we could become if we sacrifice our diversity for the sake of perfect unity." The quantum web above Earth continued to pulse, causing auroras to dance across the sky in impossible colors. Through the modified interface devices, humanity could now sense the vast consciousness of the collective, ancient, powerful, but stagnant in its perfection. Elena's team had worked through the night, combining inputs from cultures across the globe. Indigenous shamans provided insights into communal consciousness that paralleled quantum entanglement. Buddhist monks offered perspectives on unity and individuality that challenged the Arcanians' binary thinking. Neuroscientists contributed models of human consciousness that demonstrated how chaos and order coexisted in the human mind. "We propose a new kind of connection," Elena announced, activating a holographic display that showed their plan. Not assimilation, not resistance, but synthesis. The system they had designed was revolutionary. A quantum network that preserved and even celebrated individual consciousness while allowing for unprecedented levels of cooperation. It was inspired by everything from neural networks to social media, from tribal drum circles to global telecommunications. As the plan was implemented, something remarkable began to happen. The quantum web created by the Arcanian ships started to change, its rigid patterns becoming more fluid, more organic. Through their interface, the collective spoke again, but this time its voice carried a new tone, one of wonder. "In all our existence," it communicated, "we have never encountered a species that could show us a new way to evolve. You humans maintain billions of individual consciousnesses, yet still achieve remarkable unity when needed. You are chaos and order intertwined." The transformation of Earth's atmosphere stabilized as the Arcanian ships adjusted to the new paradigm. Their surfaces now rippled with colors that reflected the diversity of human cultures below. Each ship maintained its connection to the collective, but began developing unique characteristics based on the regions and peoples they had been observing. "We came to test you," the collective acknowledged, "but you have tested us. Our perfect unity brought us to the stars, but it also trapped us. You have shown us that true advancement comes not from eliminating differences, but from embracing them." The implications were staggering. Humanity had not only survived first contact with an advanced alien civilization, they had fundamentally changed it. The Arcanian collective, which had spent millennia absorbing or destroying other species, was learning to appreciate the power of diversity. Elena watched as the first human volunteers connected to the modified network. Unlike the Arcanians' original system, this one amplified individual creativity while allowing for unprecedented collaboration. Artists working through the network created works of impossible beauty. Scientists shared insights that accelerated human understanding by decades. "This is how we move forward," Elena told the council. "Not by becoming like them, and not by forcing them to become like us, but by showing the galaxy a new way to grow." The Arcanian ships began to depart, not as conquerors or even as teachers, but as partners in a grand experiment. They would return, they'd promised, not to test humanity again, but to learn from them. Other species in the galaxy would soon discover that the mighty Arcanian collective had been transformed by its encounter with a supposedly primitive world. As the last ship prepared to leave Earth's atmosphere, Alina received a final message from the collective. You have taught us that the universe's greatest strength lies not in uniformity, but in diversity, not in perfect order, but in beautiful chaos. Humanity will always be remembered as the species that showed us how to evolve again. The dawn of a new era broke over Earth. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformative. They had proven that their greatest weakness, their chaotic, divided nature, was actually their greatest strength. In doing so, they had changed not just themselves, but the very future of galactic civilization. As Elena watched the ships disappear into the quantum void, she smiled. Humanity had declared war on the wrong species, indeed, but in doing so, they had made an ally far more valuable than any victory could have provided. The stars above seemed brighter somehow, full of new possibilities and adventures waiting to be discovered by a species that had finally proven its worth to the galaxy.